If you're fantasizing about quitting your job, I get it, but I am going to say something mildly annoying. You might not actually hate your career. You might just hate Tuesday. This might feel familiar. The pointless meeting, the reporting, the admin, the bit where you're doing work that doesn't even feel like it belongs to you. And because you're smart, your brain jumps to the most dramatic conclusion. I need to change everything. Often you just need to redesign the ratio. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to redesign your career in a practical way. You're going to leave with a simple audit you can do in 15 minutes and a set of levers you can pull inside your current job or industry before you decide you need a full reinvention. And later, I'll share the exact sentence that helps you ask for changes at work without sounding like you're trying to do less, because that is where people panic and bottleneck. If you are watching this thinking, finally, someone's saying it like a normal person, please hit subscribe. This channel is career support that actually holds up in real life. Now let's start with the idea that changes everything. Most jobs are a bundle of tasks. You don't hate the job, you hate the bundle. So we're going to unbundle it. Open your notes app or grab a pen and paper and write down enjoy, tolerate, hate. Now, think about the last 2 weeks, not your entire life. We're just trying to get quite accurate insight here. Enjoy. Write down what gives you energy, what makes time pass quickly, what makes you feel capable. Tolerate. What's fine in small doses might not be the most exciting, but it's not soul destroying either. It's just fine. Hate. What makes you procrastinate? What makes you feel resentful? What makes you look at your day ahead and feel dread? Here's the important part. I don't want you to moralize it. You are not lazy just because you hate certain tasks. It's only human to have preferences and strengths. Now look at that list and ask yourself, what is the ratio? If 70% of your week is hate, then we've got a problem. Let me give you a personal example of how doing this showed up for me. In my corporate career, as I became more senior, I actually did less admin. My role shifted towards more strategic thinking, more decision making, more people management, and that suited me, but I didn't realize quite how much at the time. It was only when I went self-employed that this became painfully clear. Suddenly I was doing all the admin again. I was invoicing, contracts, chasing, updating pipelines, project management, the kind of work that keeps the business running, but absolutely does not light me up. And doing this audit really made me see that admin was landing in my hate column. Now, full disclosure, I'm also terrible at it and it drained me far more than it should have. And doing that task I've explained really showed me something quite important. It wasn't that I hated being self-employed, but I hated the parts of the work that I'm not naturally built for. So when those parts made up too much of my week, everything started to feel off kilter. So instead of pushing through, I made a conscious redesign. I reduced the amount of admin I was doing myself and I outsourced this to an amazing business support, and I focused my time on the work that I am good at, thinking, problem solving, shaping ideas, working with people, creating value. And when I did that, two things happened. My work felt better and the business performed better financially too. And that is the point of this exercise. When you design your work around your strengths, instead of really fighting them, you don't just feel more engaged, you deliver better outcomes too. Now, there are a few levers that most people ignore because they think the only move is stay or leave, and it isn't. Here are some other levers I want you to consider. Lever 1, task ratio. This is the simplest. If you enjoy presenting and strategy, but maybe you hate reporting and admin, your move is not just, I'm going to quit marketing and become an artist. Maybe your move is to change the ratio. Maybe you own more stakeholder sessions. Maybe you lead more workshops. Maybe you take on the strategy work and trade that off against some reporting. And yes, this will require a conversation internally, but hold up on that because we'll get there. Lever 2, rhythm. Sometimes the work is not the problem, it's the way it's paced. If you do admin scattered across the whole week, it will feel like your brain is constantly being interrupted. Maybe you could batch it, give it one slot, one morning, one block of your time, and then protect the rest of your week for higher value work. This is a really valuable tool that a lot of businesses should look at encouraging for office workers, especially hybrid working. It really does feel quite game changing. Lever 3, context. Same skills, different industry. You might love marketing work that's community-led and education-based, but hate marketing work that's purely about performance and dashboards. Your preference is really important. Lever 4, people. I have to say this because it's true. Sometimes you don't hate your job, you just hate the people you do it with. In my experience, a bad manager can make a dream role feel like hell, and a good manager can really make quite a chaotic job feel survivable, fun, enjoyable. I'll give you a personal example of what this can look like in practice. At one point in my career, I was in a sales role. I'd been there quite a few years and I genuinely liked the business. I wasn't looking to leave, but over time, the role started to feel narrower. It started to feel less creative, and creativity is one of my core values. So the work itself wasn't bad, but the shape of it no longer fitted what I wanted to be doing. Now, instead of defaulting to, I must find a new job, I looked at the levers, and the lever that stood out to me the most there was task ratio. I proposed reshaping my role so that part of my time moved out of pure sales and into more creative, strategic work for the business. Now, I didn't present this as a vague preference. I really gave a clear rationale for this. I could see the gaps where creative thinking would support growth in the business, improve our pitching to clients, and ultimately drive revenue. So I made the case on those terms. The shift meant I wasn't abandoning sales entirely. I was just adding a complementary layer that played into my strengths. And importantly, it wasn't just better for me, it made commercial sense too. So I could point to the opportunities it unlocked and the money it could make. And that decision to redesign my role rather than leave ended up being the right one. I stayed at that business for another year. I was more engaged, the work was more effective, and felt like I was doing something that really felt like me again. And that's why I'm so insistent on this point. Before you just blow everything up, look at the levers. Sometimes the best move isn't actually a new career. It's just a much better designed version of the one you're already in. This is the moment people get stuck. They know what they want, but they don't know how to ask for it. So here is my structure. It's entering a conversation where you say, I do my best work when I'm doing X, whatever task that is, because it drives whatever outcome that is. Can we adjust my focus so I take more ownership of that, and we reduce or rebalance the task you hate? Now notice what this does. It's not saying, can I do less? It's saying, can I do more of what creates value? And that is a different conversation. If the answer is no, that is also data. It tells you this environment isn't designed for you or to play into your strengths. And that doesn't mean you're bad, but it could signal that you're mismatched. Let's do that marketing example properly. Say you're in marketing, you enjoy strategy, workshops, presenting. You might feel quite sharp at it. You might feel quite useful. You tolerate writing, it's fine. You hate reporting and admin. You feel drained. You end up procrastinating. And most people hear that and go, oh, I hate marketing. No, you hate the bundle. So you redesign the ratio. You go to your manager and you say, I'm strongest in stakeholder sessions and turning those into direction. If I take the lead on more of that, I know that I can improve quality and speed. Can we trade off some of my weekly reporting or maybe batch it into one slot so it doesn't fragment the week? If they say yes, your job improves without you changing careers. If they say no, it's not a failure, it's information about the company. And then you have to decide whether you want to keep tolerating that environment. Now, a lot of people want a career change because they want relief, and I get it. But relief is not the same as direction. A redesign gives you data, it gives you clarity, it gives you momentum. And if you still want to pivot after that, you'll pivot into something real rather than just away from discomfort. My business coach always says to me, you've got to work out if you're in runaway or run towards mode, and this will really help you here. If you take one thing from this, let it be this. You are not stuck. Your career is just under-designed. So do the audit, enjoy, tolerate, hate, pull one of those levers, change the ratio. And if the environment you're currently working in won't let you redesign, it is not a personal failure. It's information. It tells you where you're trying to grow, and that is such a better place to make your next decision from.